Hello, guys. David Vose. Breaking news. Well, it's breaking news just about every day. But yeah, we got some news. Evidently, Elon and Zuckerberg is in on it, and Peter Thiel, and they're having parties and meetings with Epstein, and they claim they didn't. They didn't know him. They never had any dealings with him. But it's out now. I guess it's just been released, and there is a document that I guess the Attorney General put out yesterday. It's August 9th, they say he died. But before they had been telling us he died on the 10th. So now that's pretty odd because why would you, see there's a document where it was originally we're saying he died on the 10th, but somehow they've adjusted it to the 9th. Don't know why. Um, they're going to say, well, it was just a clerical error. It was really the 9th or it was really the 10th and that was a mistake. But yeah, that one's a little clear. I hope you can read it. It's hard to get these to be really clear, but it's definitely documented now that he was supposedly died on the 9th, but then, we got the 10th too. So we don't know what's going on. But one thing we know is whatever's going on, they're all in on it. And there's our little picture. There's old Elon Musk. He doesn't look like he doesn't know where he's at, right? They actually admitted this was released, I guess, a picture, part of the Epstein files. They were all having a party. Zuckerberg's there. Woo. Would you believe that? Who'd have thunk, right? Oh, they're all in on it. How could that be? Why would all these billionaires try and take over the world? Why would they all be having meetings? Huh? Oh, maybe they are manipulating the world with their money. Maybe all these psyops and events are being put out there to confuse us. Maybe when Elon says he doesn't like Bill Gates or supposedly having a tiff with Trump or all this is staged. And maybe all their billions is just a little round table and they decide what they're going to do for them. And they're going to put themselves in the seat of the world rulers and we're going to be done. And when Elon says, if you can't beat them, join them. And so he builds AI. I think he's just saying, look, we're taking over the world. AI's taking over. We're programming it. You're done. And singularity will be reached by 2033. And Jesus will be here before then to stop us. But we're hoping he won't. I think that's what's really going on. Anywho, that's just my opinion. Now let me show you what AI has to say about the whole thing. What do you have to say for yourself, AI? They said recent investigations and a massive document released from the U.S. Department of Justice on February 2029. What? February 2029? This isn't 2029. Recent investigations and massive document released from the U.S. Department of Justice, February 2029. Okay, that's weird. If I'm not mistaken, this is 2026. That's confusing. Have brought new light or new details to the light regarding Jeffrey Epstein's death. That must be a glitch or a... Official discovery. Epstein was officially found unresponsive in his cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan approximately at 6:30 a.m. August 10th, 2019. He was pronounced dead shortly after being transported to a local hospital. The August 9th document, a controversial draft statement from the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, was recently discovered August 9th, 2019, the day before he was found. The draft already announced his death, leading to intense public scrutiny and speculation about foreknowledge, though officials have not definitively explained the date discrepancy. I don't think the U.S. Attorney General makes mistakes one day before. I mean, of course, that is possible. People make mistakes, but you don't then have a secretary or another secretary go over it. Nobody knows what day, and it just happens to be the day before. And This happens to be the most important document, like one of the biggest stories in the 21st century. One theory that I have that came into my mind as to why they would do this. I mean, there's so many reasons why evil people would do evil, but what I see is that this could be the wrong date on purpose. And why would they do that? Because somebody's probably trying to put out little clues. They know we'll talk about it. Little clues that to say, well, look, something's wrong here. They don't even know what date he died. There's something being covered up. But they're not allowed to say. They don't want to get, offed. Because if they went out and, they're all under oath, they can all be murdered or. So if they just say, oh my goodness, somebody made a mistake, and that's probably why they got this little blonde girl head of the DOJ, because they knew they wanted to put somebody in there that you wouldn't get mad at, some meanie person. But have a little blonde young woman that, and she's, oh, it's not my fault. This is just choreographed, The people that they put in position, like Pete Hegseth, some, clean-cut, good-looking Christian, just to keep you calm, don't you worry. We got a nice little young blonde here in the office, and she's not a bad lady. She's not a mean lady. She's nice. And she's doing the best she can. And old Pete Hegseth, he's doing the best he can. He just blew up 3 countries. What do you want, man? Yeah, that's what I think. But if it were being faked or manipulated because of the fact that they don't want anybody to know if, when, where he died, or, some of these things seems manipulated when they say, oh, there was some kind of mistake. We've got 2 different documents and we don't know what's going on. It's just to keep us in this loop of trying to figure out which document, but what's the real story? So now we're trying to figure out if there's conspiracy about the document, when what we should really be concentrating on is how many children did he rape and pillage, and why is Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, and the worker at a party and they're planning something? Now, up until now, I hadn't heard about Elon Musk and Peter Thiel being involved with this very much, and it struck me as very, very obvious what's going on. Epstein was involved. They're all together with Epstein and Elon, with Elon Musk. Peter Thiel, they're together. Worker. You know how they claim to be opposing sides, right? Like Bill Gates is trying to do the thingy, and Elon Musk is trying to distance himself and say, oh, no, we don't like the thingy. And, Zuckerberg, he's taking people's accounts down for disagreeing with the thingy. And Elon takes over Twitter and says, oh, we're going to have freedom. We don't like that worker Zuckerberg. So now we see that the day before the great icon of evil dies in some kind of coinky-dink, all together in a meeting, we don't know how many people were there, all discussing what they're going to do and what they want to do. And then next day they pretended he dies, and this is how they got rid of the situation. I'm sure the meeting was there that day because he was in jail and they had to figure out what to do. Now, the crazy thing about this is, if we need any more crazy, the crazy thing is somebody's taking the picture, right? This is some kind of a top secret, top level meeting, how to take over the world, and nobody really wants anybody to know they're there, right? You wouldn't think. But somebody's taking a picture, and Elon doesn't look up and go, hey, get rid of that picture, right? I don't want my picture taken at this party. I don't want to be associated with that guy. But he don't say nothing. Zuckerberg or Workerburger's right there in the frame, right in the front, in the foreground, and they say nothing. Well, why would you take pictures? Yeah, if it's your family and friends, you want to hey, say cheese, I want to put this on the wall when we all got together, the whole family. But this is not that kind of family, right? This is another kind of family. And they don't really like everybody knowing what they're doing. So it seems like somebody said that maybe Jeffrey Epstein, who's not actually in the photo, but they confirmed it was his house, or he was hosting the meeting, or they were talking to Jeffrey, and he was there. That's been confirmed by the DOJ or something. So he might be the one taking the picture. Well, that would mean he's using the pictures as blackmail. And how would a man like Jeffrey do something like that? Have the balls to do something like that? Well, he's working. He's an agent for the Israeli intelligence. You understand what I'm saying? So he's got them all blackmailed. So regardless of whether Elon or Zuckerberg or Buckerwork or Rackerworker is good guy or bad guy, don't matter. They're going to do whatever they're told, or they're going to be ousted or outed, or, they're being blackmailed, you see. So this way they have no choice but to do the plan. And I think the biggest blackmail going on right now is Trump. They probably said, look, you'll be president. We'll let you be president, but you got to do what we say. And keep this all secret as president. Bury it. Don't let anybody know what's going on. Do your best, or we'll end your presidency. Or maybe we'll just assassinate you, make an idol of you, download your brain into the AI, and everybody will worship you. And that'll, by that time, they'll, if you decide to snitch on us, well, you'll be executed. And then we'll remove all the videos and files of you ever making any admissions or whatever. Kill you so you can never speak again. But then we'll idolize, or have you idolized by the public, and they'll worship you, just like we did with Washington and Abraham Lincoln and Jefferson and all the others, Martin Luther King Jr. and Charlie Kirk, right? Those are the 12 apostles of the new age of AI, right? So it's blackmail, guys. I guarantee it. So now here's the thing. These individuals that were at this party, we only know that Peter Thiel, who's a billionaire, and Elon Musk and Zuckerberg were there, and we know others. Now, these are the most important people, especially with, media and banking, PayPal, all these things, Plantier and surveillance and all the New World Order clog of the wheel was there. It seems to me now I understand what happened. Billionaires decided they want something done. They told Trump, you do what we want and we'll make you president. And Trump made a deal with Elon Musk and Zuckerberg and probably the Goggle brothers and all the rest. They got a deal going. Bill Gates is involved. And they're saying, okay, Mr. Trump, we'll make you president. We'll make the world worship you around the world, because we need support. We need like over 50% of the world to go along with this. And then we'll get the rest of the world, right? So we're going to finance you, back you, make you a god, pretend that you were almost assassinated. We're going to create this whole thing with Charlie Kirk and get all the Christians involved with the NAR. We're going to get everybody on board. We're going to have a big meeting. And now, problem. People are wondering about this Epstein. Well, we'll just get rid of him. He'll do it underground now. Or we'll have somebody else doing his job. Because there are other people doing his job now. But that's what appears to be going on. They're all in it together. They're all manipulating us. It's all a fraud. It's a big hoax. Their intent is to demonstrate these blue beam operations, holograms, worldwide psyops, MK Ultra mind control programs, and events like 9/11, Charlie Kirk, all the while keeping us arguing and fighting about crazy things, not knowing what's going on. Meanwhile, they're all in it together. They're going to run this into operation. I just did the video the other day. The date is already secured. By 2028, 2029, at the end of Trump's presidency, there will be an inauguration of a world dictator or a worldwide system that will be run supposedly from AI. Although we know the Bible says that the Antichrist will die from a wound in the head, and then they will raise him from the dead and make a idol or some other thing that they create that will speak. They cause it to speak, called the beast. And all the world will wonder after the beast, and they will worship the beast, and he will speak. I just keep having this odd feeling that Trump's going to be assassinated, really. And they'll upload his personage. Or maybe it'll be Charlie Kirk. I don't know. But the Antichrist is going to be speaking through that beast. That's probably what I see happening. But the rest of this says the key evidence released, autopsy photos, 20 photos of Epstein's body on a stretcher, and close-ups of his neck injuries were released in early February of 2026. Any of that can be CGI. And if you want to know if you can CGI stuff, little old me for, $50 can make an AI movie that, it doesn't look real completely because I'm adding fantasy to it. But you can see that they can literally make videos. I mean, they're not even that great. They're telling us they went to Mars or, Pluto or something, and they got pictures, and it's all CGI, but we believe it. It doesn't have to be that real. We believe whatever they tell us, and then it seems like on purpose they throw out pictures that contradict the storyline, and then there's all the controversy, and people are trying to figure it out, and then they hire Candace to go out and say, oh, they're all evil, and Israel's running the world, and Israel is running the world, and then they're going to blame it on Israel. I guarantee it, they're going to blow up Israel soon. It might not be until 2028 or something, but they're going to destroy Israel, the whole city of Jerusalem, and build it back better. There will be a new world order, and Trump will plant his palatial tower, his palatial tent, as the book of Daniel says, in the land there in Palestine. Divide up the earth for a price, it says. Divide up the earth for a price. The Antichrist does that. It talks about in the book of Daniel, the Antichrist will sell the land for a price. Isn't that exactly what Trump's doing? If he's talking about the land of Israel, then he's selling it for a price, Gaza, and chopping it up and building a resort. If he's talking about the world, well, they're doing that too. They're selling the world for a price. And us peasants ain't got the money. We ain't got that price. So we ain't going to get no land. We're going to be in little 15-minute cities. And I don't know if you ever heard, I talked about it in the video I did the other day, but that 110-mile city over there in Saudi Arabia is going to be the new Babylon. They're actually creating the new Babylon. So do I think that's the fulfillment of the book of Revelation and the Babylon that falls? No. Babylon in the Bible is the world system. And they're just putting the name on it. This is the new system. These 15-minute cities, the crackdowns, the pandemics, the ID to travel, and all the things that they're going to be doing. This is going on. I guarantee it. It's real. There's no way that you could imagine this document being anything other. And this picture showing them all around the table the day before he supposedly dies. If this isn't proof, I mean, it's weird how proof is considered proof. If I had somebody saying that I went to the Grand Canyon on some specific date, the 10th of February, and everybody had been saying, oh, he just went there by himself, right? He just went there by himself and nobody knew he was going. But then a document shows up, months and months later, where there's pictures of me with my family the day before on the 9th, discussing things over margaritas. And then it turns out that what we were discussing is that I had robbed everybody and had, and I owed everybody millions of dollars and they were going to get in trouble. And you could easily in your mind then think that the meeting was trying to discuss it and what we're going to do about it. And the only thing we don't know is whether they had the meeting and Epstein couldn't give them any way to fix it, so they had to kill him, or they had the meaning to say, how are we going to pretend that you died? And I think that's probably what happened. But if anybody in the world out there doesn't think that something happened, something bad happened, something that's not right, if anybody out there thinks that the world's going along just peachy and that AI is just fine and there's no problems, you're stupid. And I'm sorry, but you need to go get a transplant, a brain transplant. Get one that works, and maybe you ought to check your heart while you're there. Anywho, I think I'll just leave it there. What more can I say? Check out my AI video that I put over on TikTok. Guys, I'm going to use these little 3, 4, 5-minute TikTok and AI, productions to try and possibly get more people to watch, because I think this information is important and people need to see it. I'll go ahead and go now. Hope you have a wonderful evening. You know the Lord loves you all. We'll see you tomorrow. His grace and His peace will be with you.